Hey, how's it going, Miss Amy? This is video journal number one for the new class, the ethics one. Right. And it's a little late. Sorry about that. I was going to talk to you tomorrow about, just 10 points, whatever, 20, 30 points, whatever, less to just make sure that I get the assignment in. But anyway, sorry about the tardiness on that. So my commentary on the film Shouting Fire. Got a couple of notes right here, and I guess I'll just go by your prompt that I've got here at the bottom of the screen. So, what are the what are the names of the cases discussed in the film? Well, the names are: what did you learn? What surprised you? Did the film change or influence your thoughts on the First Amendment? Did the film help clarify or shape your? I'm not sure that it helped influence my opinions on the First Amendment. It helped me be suspicious over the Patriot Act, I would have to say. One thing I thought was really interesting in there was how the gentleman was talking about, like, when the Patriot Act was enacted, that we didn't have nearly the technological capabilities that we do today. And that's a very interesting contention. Honestly, the rest of the film, it's like you said in class, like you went back and you've watched it several times and you took different piece from it every time, and maybe that's something that I need to do personally as well. But when I, just running through it this time, um, it was okay. I mean, it was fine. It's HBO. I think the bias is very apparent. Um, I didn't look up the backgrounds of the people that produced it or directed it, but I'm sure that their bias is more than apparent as well. And I did take some notes on a couple of the things that I thought was the couple of the names of the case. I don't remember the names, but anyway, the Muslim lady that wanted to do the school, the madrasa, that's what it was called, the madrasa in New York City. Uh, I thought it was. So there was a reaction to it, right? There was a reaction to it, and that reaction was befitting, for lack of a better word. Or, I mean, maybe that is the right word, and I say it is befitting for, like I said, some of the notes I said the Madrasa critic Daniel Pipes said, quote, Daniel Pipes was the critic, by the way. He was the critic journalist that was, hating on her in the press. I think it was like the New York Sun or whatever. And he was somewhat vilified in the film. But Daniel Pipes said, much to his credit, he said that it's good in principle, madrasa that is, good in principle but bad in application. He's got a point, sadly. He's got a point, and I said he's got a point, sadly, because that has a point that has little to do with tolerance or bigotry. Most current wars are driven by Muslim ideology. Most acts of terror are committed by Muslim affiliates, unfortunately. But most importantly, this is further confounded by the fact that this took place in a city that just 6 years prior, I think it said like 2007, so just 6 years prior was home to the most iconic acts of terrorism in the modern world. So it's like you could almost understand, like, it's not it makes it seem like the film was trying to portray the whole madrasa thing in this bigoted and, lack of tolerance, so to speak, like kind of light. And the viewer, or at least myself, like, you almost think like it's not so much like a bigoted reaction as it is just, it's not so much a bigoted phenomena as it is a lack of good PR phenomena. Like, those guys should have known what they were pushing, where they were pushing it, what was going to push back, and why it was going to push back, is what I say. It just seems so like elementary cause and effect. in my opinion. Uh, so another one of the cases uh, was the shirt kid that had the Ezekiel shirt that had the gay stuff on it from Romans, whatever, in the Bible. And once again, I didn't find that crazy because it was there was some guy on there that said something about these are students, like how much are they affecting the the political thoughts, the contemporary thought, and um, of the nation. I can't remember what the quote was exactly, but it's basically what he was saying. How much are they affecting, the national opinion? And um, I kind of agree with that. It seemed like the guy that was wearing the shirt, I think that what he said was one of the most offensive things was that he was told was by, I think it was like the principal, and he said that the principal said, if your faith is offensive, you have to leave it in the car. And that is a little unsettling. I would like to relate to him a little bit and say that is a little unsettling that you were told, like, you don't have the right to offend somebody, you know? Because that's a school doing a shitty job of relating you to the real world. Because offense is inextricably related to the real world. So that's a shitty school doing, a shitty school thing, in my opinion. So that's a little unsettling. I get it. But the whole thing taken into account, the whole hubbub, if you will, the whole whatever, I feel like you need to go to the basic premise of what they are in, which is an academic environment. And the fact that the dude says has masking tape on his shirt that is proclaiming uh, things like that. It is very distracting. I mean, it just seems commensurate that the school administration can control those sorts of things when they can control things like dress code, other things that have a similarly like reflexive distraction, if that makes sense, because I mean, let's face it, that is reflexively distracting to see like a pair of like, ladies stuff like hanging out and, you know, guys, ladies, if you're into that kind of thing, like they don't have a choice whether or not to be distracted by that. It's going to happen. So that's why same thing with like uh, the leggings. I think the yoga pants. My nephews have told me is a big thing in schools these days. Those are controlled, restricted rather, quite a bit, and it just seems kind of related to that. Like that way the way that you go about expressing your freedom of religion or whatever your ideology is a little uh, it's a little abrasive. It's a little distracting. I think distracting is the main word because, like I said, I was relating it to the leggings thing. Anyway, I'm here at 8 minutes now, and I'm gonna stop. I'll shut up. But I didn't have a whole lot to say about the film, but I did want to defend the fact that people were super defensive, offended by those two cases, and I thought it was a little silly that the guy said "fuck" at the end of it as well. It was just kind of like this, and I don't know. It seemed a little unprofessional. Like if it was funny, then it would have been funny, but it wasn't funny. He was just like, "Don't let the fucking guys win," and yeah, anyway, that's it. I'll see you later, Miss Amy.